It's cold outside, and I'm uncomfortable cold. I was cold all night. Were you cold that night?
Yeah.
It's like 6 o'clock. We slept a little more than we wanted, but getting packed up here, going hunting. It feels cold. It looks pretty good. First time we've actually seen it in the daylight. But only time will tell. Sign will tell.
Well, we're in a new unit. We're headed out from the trailhead now, about 7:30. Not really sure what to expect, but we got a route planned on the map and we're gonna go for it. Got here last night and there was a lot less vehicles than we expected, so either there's not much hunting pressure, well, there's not much hunting pressure, or there's not a lot of elk. Just gotta try to find one, I guess.
Yep.
We're here at the new spot we jumped into. Not looking good. We haven't seen a rub. I mean, if you're trying to shoot moose, this might be a good place to go. The timber is like this dry understory where we tried to stay away from in the last unit. We haven't seen a single confirmed track, dropping, rub of elk or anything. About 2.5 miles in.
Almost 3.
3 miles in.
We have seen 2 moose, which is not what we want to see.
I think we're just turning around, get back to the truck, hit a unit that we know has elk in it.
At this point, we're shuffling our feet, but pretty good at catching ourselves.
That's not always true.
No, but if it is true, it'll sound good. Jeep people love this shit.
Alrighty, well we're at the second unit of the day. Got here about noon, drove up this hard to access road and maybe a dozen trucks at the trailhead here. We're heading in for a couple days and gonna give it a shot. There's some dark timber, there's kind of the same kind of stuff we hunted in the first unit. Nice thing about this unit is there's not a lot of access from this point to the next access point. We're hoping we can get in there and find some elk that haven't been touched. Let's do it.
Old.
Alright guys, today has been a bit of a failure, but we think we finally are starting to get into something here. We dropped quite a bit in elevation, and all of a sudden the sign's picking up a little bit. It just looks like there's a little bit more wet habitat down here. But we're way down here, and I think the big thing that's different for us this year is how much drier it was than last year. You know, last year everything was super green, way up top even. But this year I just don't think they're up there. I'm not saying there's not some elk up there, but I don't think there's as many as there may be down here. We were driving past here a few days ago. We did see elk on the road down on private, not far from here. So we're thinking maybe focusing on our efforts a little bit lower might play out for us, but it's a lot different year to year, and that's something that we've definitely learned this year. Dry years, water, super important, and sometimes it's harder to find than you think. All right, everybody, it's about 5:45. I woke up at like 2:15. I thought I heard a bugle when I was kind of rolling over. Kind of stayed awake a little bit longer to keep listening, and he bugled like probably 15 times down in there. So everything that we were guessing that they were going to be down low, it's proven to be true. We've now eliminated so much of this unit as country that we just don't think there's at least a lot of elk in, but we're still pretty high above the rest of the public land that drops below us before it hits the private. I think that's where those elk are going to be bedding. Ben and I looked at the map for a long time last night, and it's just like the only place in this whole area where there's water. We've got 2 or 3 places targeted that we're going to slip through Colin. Hopefully bump into a bull. Pretty excited about it. 2 more days left. Let's get one.
Yet again, we have another form of hunting pressure. We came out this point, we ran into a couple guys. A guy sat up on a pond, and now we found a dead cow elk. Looks like a week old or so. I'm not really sure where these people are coming from, but probably the trail above us, or from private. We're a couple hundred yards from private line now. We're just gonna keep paralleling it, working through public, and I don't know, the habitat looks good.
So you heard a bull?
Colin heard it. I mean, I didn't hear it, but it sounded like he said it was a ways out.
That might be a bull. No hunters going up and down like that. That's real. Just ease through here.
Two more back in the trees.
It's just a spike, isn't it?
Yeah.
There'll be a bull in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, I see another one coming.
You see what?
Another one coming.
You might call back to it. Oh my God, there's so many. There you go.
Same spot.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Ben, there's 2 of them. We gotta potentially kill this bull right here. That's fine.
Yeah. Scared. Can we get in front of this stuff?
Potentially. I might take my back off. Just to sit down on the ground and tuck in. Is that a good idea? A bad idea?
I think that's fine.
Okay. closer one.
I think so. He's like directly down there. Yeah. Alright, we're right up along the edge of public-private. There's a whole herd of elk below us. The cows came out. There's a big bull back there. There's a satellite bull bugling in between us and the herd. We've only got like 40 yards to work with to the line. The wind right now is kind of not great going in the direction that satellite bull is. Let's get closer.
It's just right in there.
Yeah. Now the wind's doing what we want it to. I feel like it's just going up.
Yeah, I see a bull.
Okay, back at it.
Coming this way. I mean, they're way up on the other hill still. Coming this way. Bull's chasing them all around. There's so many elk over there, it's insane. I can see like pot down.
I think we just play it patient for a second here. If they keep staying in the same spot, we just keep working our way down. I mean, in theory, all day that wind should be sucking up that valley. I'd like, you know what I mean? Because like if we go walking through there and they're standing there looking up here, that sounded closer to the last one though.
Oh, that's the one. There's two. There's at least two. There's one that I think is the one that went down with the most cows, and then there's another one that's down in here. And he's got the 3 cows and a spike with him. There might even be a third one in here too. It's hard to say.
This is the most elk that I've ever been around at once. We struggled yesterday to find any, like a lick of sign. We moved all the way down the mountain to the lowest elevation we could find where there's the most wet ground. There's ponds on public that we think they're using in the evening and throughout the night. And then they're just hanging around this private public edge. The habitat's great. You might think we're on a lease in Utah, but this is actually still over the counter for about another 80 yards. The first time we saw those elk pop out, 200 yards maybe from the public line, and they were coming down that same ridge.
Yep.
And the water's up on that ridge.
Yep.
We got a camp on our back so we can just end up wherever.
It's about 4 o'clock and we're actually setting up a little base camp here. The reason we're setting up here is because we feel like hopefully our scent will stay down this little bowl. Seems like a lot of the elk are working the public-private line right down here below us. From here, we're hoping to be able to hear a lot, at night and then first thing in the morning. But we're gonna split up into 2 different high knobs and glass tonight, kind of see what these elk are doing. And then first thing in the morning, just get as tight to the public line as possible. Just try to call one across the line or call them while they're right on the public there, because they're definitely on it. They're just not on it all the time. They're betting on the private, I think a lot of the feeding in the middle of the night is probably down there on the private, but there's water up here, so I think they're spending some time here, but definitely not the majority of the daylight hours. So just gonna try to gain some more intel, and then tomorrow give them one hard go. Tomorrow's our last day, so set up camp, go to some glassing knobs, hopefully see some elk.
We found the elk again. Maybe the same ones, maybe not. There's some private fields down here about a mile away from us. And there's a herd of, I don't know, 20 to 30 elk with like 6 or 7 bulls in it. And then we're kind of sitting in the spot where they came through this morning. Potentially this all the same herd. Anyways, kind of hoping they do a loop like this. Most of the coverage back towards the public. And the privates, you know, a lot of fields and stuff. Just gonna keep watching. There's a couple of cows that popped out from north of the herd, so maybe there's some more elk.
See anything?
Oh yeah.
Did you? Figured you guys would.
But they're on private.
Are they?
I am blown away.
We saw one moose. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But he was no elk.
Still kill one yet, man.
Still there.
They're gobbling.
They're gobbling somewhere.
Yeah.
Are they where we wanted them to be?
They're closer than they were last night.
Sick.
Well, we got up this morning, stood up here to listen, and there's bulls bugling here. We can see a herd way the heck down there. But there's definitely some bulls that are closer to public line. We're gonna work our way back to where Zach and I were last night and just kind of keep cover and wind on our side, slow play them, and then try to strike whenever they get close to public. Yeah, there's a chance they work up through these aspens, this ridge that we looked at last night. Because like we saw them yesterday, go up and around that, catch them right down there if they start to make that move.
Just straight up two fighting down there. I can see like at least 4 or 5 bulls in the frame right now. And that's just in one little spot. And there's 2 fighting. Hardcore fighting. Yeah, the bulls are chasing the cows. This is good for us. Splitting them way up. The two giants are fighting. There's two bulls on this ridge. So like the amount of elk that are in there is a lot. They just are not spending much time on public land.
Nope. One don't need to.
Made that mistake.
Yeah, we did. We have a hell of a herd, but
Yeah, just not here.
no, we're not. We're not the first people, I'm sure, that have tried to get them off of there.
No. Guess we go get camp and walk back.
Alright guys, this is the end of the elk trip. Made it back to the truck, but I think we learned a lot on this trip overall. We're gonna do a podcast tonight. If you guys wanna know our whole thought process going in and just some of the things that we learned along the way, we'll cover a bunch of that. But I think we learned a lot more than we expected. We ended up in a lot of different country that we didn't expect to, and that made it pretty fun. But I think overall, we were really close a couple times. I think situation's a little bit different next time, and we got a couple bulls on the ground. But really, it's just gonna have to be inspiration for next year, because obviously we didn't capitalize, but got a lot of deer hunting to do, and that's what we'll be doing next. But you guys have fun?
Oh yeah.
Heck
Oh,
yeah.
we do.
Ben had fun too. Alright guys, thanks for watching the elk series. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about what we learned, we'll cover that in the podcast. There's a link below in the description to our podcast. There's all kinds of podcasts on there too. Just a little plug. But catch you on the next video.